Hey, welcome back to Yacht Shop Creations. Been working on this project for 5 days, so you can see how fast I can grow a goatee. So, sunburst pattern here. Some of you might have seen the previews to it. Well, let's get started on what we got going on. All right, this is a not to scale version of what we're going to do because the lights are going to be much larger in dimension, but it gives us an overall size. The flat will be 41 inches, the exterior, the outside will be 45 inches. This is an actual 2 scale of the center panel, the outside molding with a 10-inch radius on it, a hardwood edge, veneered front faces. So remember, this is a cutaway view. So this is going to be a round piece, and let's get started on that. I'm going to make it out of 3 pieces of 1/2 inch plywood. And this will be 2 pieces of 1/4 inch with a layer of fiberglass in the center of it. So let's get started laying up the 2 pieces of 1/4 with the biaxial cloth in the center of it, and then we'll get the outside ring completed and we'll start milling that out. Okay, so this piece came out really nice with the biaxial cloth. You can see it's still sticking out over the edge, but this makes for a real stable piece of material, as you can see. Now this is going to get cut out, in the 41-inch size circle to reduce some of the weight of this. And then this part is laid up, which is the exterior ring. And as you can see, I'm just going to make that out of 3 pieces of plywood, like I told you. Be 3 thicknesses of 1/2 inch. Now, in order to save on material and actually make a little bit less work for myself, I have used scrap from the original cutout of the one side to give me my in-between layer. Now it looks kind of messy, maybe a little bit unprofessional, but I can guarantee you one thing, this is actually going to be more stable than if it was 3 rings of just plywood. All of these seams in between here make it less likely to be able to warp at a different time. When it's milled out, nobody will ever know that it's 3 layers done this way, but the joints will actually be much stronger and more permanent. So this has allowed me to be able to make this internal piece going on the inside than if I had 3 rings all cut out exactly the same dimension. So this is basically already partly made for me. I'm going to rough this out now, get it closer to what it looks like here, and then we'll go put it on the table saw and make the 10-inch radius, which will be a lot of fun. Okay, so let me get the rough work out of the way and we'll go from here. So in order to create this radius that we have in our drawing here, we've made a jig, which is the exterior components of what we cut the discs out of. So saved plywood and made it simple to do. So basically we're setting over our table saw blade. As you lift up the blade, it's going to give us a 10-inch radius, blade being 10 inches. Alex has it set up to give us the angle that we need, which in turn will represent what we have here on this piece of teak as our edge piece. It's actually a really excellent way to create a router out of the table saw. It'll give us a radius and it will work real smoothly. So we're going to cut down this depth slowly until we get to the exact dimension. So I'm going to show you how this works. So I turn on the saw. I brought the blade up into the part about 1/8 of an inch, and I can do a little bit more than that. You'll see down in here the blade's up there. So now we have a pretty coarse tooth blade on there. The 16 or 18 tooth is going to make life a little easier for us. and that's just going to spin over like that. We're just going to keep pushing it along. Now, because of the amount of dust that's coming off from there, we're going to stick the hood back over. Okay, now we've completed one total revolution. Take a look and see how that worked. Worked pretty cool. As you can see, there's a curve to that now. So it worked out really nice. It goes all the way around real even. Okay, so we've done a little bit of cleanup here. Set this back in the jig. I also add a little bit of tape on the back side of my template to try to keep the dust from floating over the edge too much. So the table saw is at the same height that it was, so turn it back on. We'll run it again. There we are. So now we can see that we did more, but we still have a little bit of a flat edge there. So we're gonna have to make another pass. All right, so that came out really good. All the way around, gave us what we needed for radius. Now, we're just gonna take like a 64th off the whole thing, make it as smooth as we can before we start sanding. So I'm just gonna bring the blade up just a little bit more, make a final pass. Actually gonna make a couple passes around, make sure it's really smooth on the surface. There'll be less sanding for us to do. Okay, so that gives us what we need. A little sanding, a little filling. You know, because of the grain going across the blade, actually going opposite of the way the blade's going, that's what's gonna happen as you make a circle in plywood. You have some cuts that are going exactly with the grain. And on the top edge, the furthest point out gets really thin with the cross grain on that layer of the ply. So it chips off. So we're gonna end up doing a little bit of filling with some Bondo. Fill it in a little bit and then sand the whole thing really nice and smooth, and then we can start veneering on top of that.
Let's take the high road home. Why don't you come along? I know that we can make it. We pack our things and leave tonight, and everything will be alright. We'll take the high road home, back where we belong. Morning comes like an accident. You and me are here again, getting ready for nothing at all. We pick our clothes up off the floor, and then we both are at the door, wishing we could start something new. We got no time to waste, baby, don't you hesitate. We made the rules, now let's break them. Let's take the high road home. Why don't you come along? I know that we can make it. We pack our things and leave tonight, and everything will be alright. We'll take the high road home, back where we belong. Let's go before the curtain call. I need you here, not through it all. When leaving is the best way to go. We've been through hell and back again, and now it's time to make a stand. Stand up for love, we stand up for love. Should I break or should I fall? There's nothing left, nothing here at all. The memories are starting to fade. So let's take the high road home. Why don't you come along?
All right, well that worked pretty good. It's always the issue of something going really bad with the router. Didn't have that issue this time. I'm gonna go over it with an 8-inch disc and some 320, make it look real pretty before we put it in the ring. So let's do a little preview of what you're gonna see on part 2 of the Zebrawood light balance. So that's what it looks like. Now, of course, this piece is freshly sanded, so it's got a little bit more cleaner color to it. In part number 2, we're gonna wrap the whole edge with solid Zebrawood, put a radius at the top of it, and it's gonna be so cool. So, like always, spend some time with somebody you love. Don't forget what's important in life, and really make something cool. Whether you do it out of wood or out of your heart, go for it. We'll talk to you all soon. Have a great day.
Everything will be alright.